Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are doing something kind of fascinating. We're dissecting a massively defining moment in financial history, but we're doing it through just one exceptionally concentrated piece of source text. Sometimes the starkest historical realities aren't buried in thick textbook chapters. They're right there in a few carefully chosen words. Let's really break down the structural understanding hidden right inside this dense statement. 1929. We hardly even need to discuss the event itself to feel the heavy weight of that specific year. Right. In the entire timeline of the United States, it acts as an absolute demarcation line. It's this stark boundary between a before and an after. The source material we're looking at actually relies on this year alone to carry the entire burden of the catastrophe. It's an era-defining boundary for sure. So, what exactly caused America's biggest economic ruin? The text we are examining absolutely does not shy away from superlatives. It poses this really heavy implicit question to us. What mechanism was actually powerful enough to break the financial back of an entire nation? Because remember, we aren't talking about a regional downturn here or just a temporary dip. No way. We are talking about the absolute peak of economic disaster. Okay, here is the exact source text, word for word. America's biggest economic crash, money with wings emoji, hyphen, stock market crash of 1929. It's incredibly concise. There is literally no fluff here. Every single word, and surprisingly, even the emoji, carries a very specific meaning. You see, when a historical summary is this unbelievably brief, it signals that the underlying events were so universally devastating that they just require no preamble. Let's zoom in on the phrase, the Great Crash. This really emphasizes the unprecedented, honestly terrifying scale of the event. In this context, it denotes something completely all-encompassing. It tells us, right off the bat, that this wasn't just a simple market correction, it was a foundational collapse. The implied velocity of a crash, paired with the word great, paints a pretty vivid picture. It's like a giant building coming down instantly, with absolutely zero safety net to catch anyone. And then, the text points directly to the mechanism itself, the catastrophic failure of the financial markets. It links the overarching economic ruin directly to this specific engine. Think about it. The stock market is the beating heart of capital, right? It's where investments grow and businesses fund their futures. Well, our text pinpoints this exact mechanism as the site of the fatal fracture. The engine didn't just stall out, it violently seized up. Then we have to face the consequence, America's economic ruin. Notice how the source deliberately avoids softer terms here. They don't say recession or even depression. Ruin is structural. Like a decimated building, it means the architecture has completely failed and is just uninhabitable. By applying this specific word to a national economy, the text conveys a devastation that entirely bypasses the ledger. It directly hits livelihoods, savings, and the overall prosperity of the nation. Okay, and then there's the inclusion of the money with wings emoji. This is wild to me. We usually just drop this in a text message when we've just bought something super expensive, right? But injected into this incredibly solemn summary, it becomes the stark, almost ironic symbol. It serves to visually anchor the absolute evaporation of wealth. Because as far as the public was concerned in 1929, the money quite literally grew wings and flew away overnight. Poof, gone. Now this brings us to the inescapable cause and effect presented in our text. The source connects the trigger, which is the stock market collapse, to the outcome of economic ruin, using just a simple hyphen. It's crazy that that tiny little line bridges a singular event in 1929 to untold years of suffering. It really shows just how intimately tied high-level financial systems are to the day-to-day survival of the everyday economy. So we've unpacked a scale, the mechanism, and the ultimate ruin packed into this single statement. But, even the most potent summaries are really just symbols for actual human experiences. If a single market collapse resulted in what our source definitively labels America's biggest economic crash, we have to ask ourselves a deeper question. Beyond the ledgers and all that evaporated wealth, what did that level of absolute devastation actually look like for the everyday people who had to wake up the next morning and figure out how to survive it? It's exactly the kind of question this unbelievably concise piece of history demands we answer.